Don't be afraid of 6-marker questions in GCSE Physics. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you a method that will always give you the best chance of scoring full marks. Well, let's have a look at this 6-marker. Describe how you would perform an experiment to determine the IV characteristics of the fixed resistor. Notice that we have a variable resistor here, we have an ammeter, a voltmeter. The first step to any 6-marker experimental question would be to write what we're going to vary and what we're going to measure. Now in this case, the clue is almost a little bit in the name because we have a variable resistor. So the very first thing that I'm going to write is vary the resistance of the variable resistor. After we have something to vary, what we'll need to do is measure some things. Now in this case, because we want to measure the IV characteristics, we're going to measure the current and the voltage. So we're going to have a list of measurements, and for that we're just going to include the current. A really important point is to always include the device that you're going to be measuring with. So in this case, the current will be measured with an ammeter, which is in series, just as shown in the circuit, but just for completeness, to show my understanding to the examiner, I'm going to include that, and the potential difference across the resistor. This is really important, or the fixed resistor, with a voltmeter. One point that will almost always in all types of questions improve your mark straight after your measurements would be to write take multiple readings and then average. So we've taken multiple readings. Now all we need to do is plot them in a graph, and in order to do so we must, well, add this marking point, which is to plot a graph of I against V. In general, in your GCSEs, always strive to plot a graph depending on the question. Now in this state, this answer will probably give you 4 or 5 marks. However, how do we get the full 6 marks? Well, here are some suggestions. Let's include some safety. So for instance, we can keep the current small for safety and to prevent high temperature in the circuit. Additionally, we will also want to switch off the circuit between measurements, and finally we can also take some readings for the negative range by reversing the connection of the power supply and obtaining readings of negative I and negative V. Now those two parts will be dependent on the actual experiment. If you've done this in class, think about some of the precautions that you took. If you have not done this experiment, think what can be done to make it more accurate. It is really important to know that the vast majority of the questions in GCSE Physics are not 6 markers. Therefore, you really need to watch this video that will go through almost all the common questions in circuits and will really help boost your grade. So go ahead and have a look at this video right over here.